Well, hey, how y'all doing out there today? Listen, I want to talk about something very serious today and something that is all in the news. It's right in front of you, and you just got to be able to look at it and discern and decipher the truth out of what's going on. As many of you know, we're in the middle of a global power exchange. What used to be the United States and NATO is now going to be Russia and China and the BRICS nations and the BRICS alliance. Uh, the it's all in the news. All you have to do is pay attention to it. We all know that China runs their whole power infrastructure and their military off coal seam gas and they turn it into LPG. They're buying all the coal seam gas they can from Australia. They're buying all the coal seam gas they can from right here in the Appalachians. So I see that firsthand. This is not going back to America. This does not bring any money to America. And also, when it comes to America, I want you to notice something very important. They talk about how broken down our infrastructure is. They talk about how we can't get clean water through bad pipes, through bad systems. But also notice, y'all, that they are not repairing or fixing our infrastructure because this infrastructure is no longer needed. We have been labeled a resource country. And as the power exchange happens, you're going to see more and more. Because look in America today. They have brother hating brother. They have made murder almost legal. They have made human life completely obsolete. Nobody cares about the homeless. Nobody's doing anything about our social problems. We're all concentrated on making the corporations richer. We're all concentrating on the power of our military. We're all concentrating on what the hell Trump said on Twitter, and yet we're not paying attention to what's going on around us, the very selling out and destruction of our own country. Our own country. America is no longer here, y'all. We have been sold out. As I said before, look at the millions of miles of pipelines going across our country. Look at the fact that all of our national parks have been leased out to foreign countries, especially mostly China. All this pipeline infrastructure now is the only thing being newly built in America, and it's being built with Russian steel. So all the lies you were told about jobs, all the lies you were told about American steel, all the lies you were told about making America great were just lies. It was just to keep you in the dark as all this goes on behind your back. Now let's look at the global aspect of this, y'all. Did you not just notice that India, which is the BRICS nations, by the way, is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. So I want you to remember that as we go along with this. Now, just in the news last week, there was a big stink and a big article about the fact that India is now going to buy nuclear weapons and military gear from the Russians and the Chinese. And American didn't seem to like that. The American government didn't seem to like that, but there's nothing they can do about it. These people have their own alliance, and they will do their own trade and their own bartering on their own currency. So watch this as it happens. It's happening right in your face, so you can't deny it. Also, you notice Brazil has a new leader, and he's going to crack down on this and crack down on that and crack down on crime, so to speak. But really, I want you to also pay something else very close attention, because this happened here in America. You remember when we had the Walmart closings, and then all of a sudden they started getting turned into FEMA camps, and we saw that they were turned into FEMA camps? Well, during that 100 and something closings of the almost 200 super Walmarts being closed, did y'all not realize that this also happened in Brazil, and that these are also the same types of buildings that can also be turned into FEMA camps, that they're fixing to control those people? China already controls their people. India already controls their people. So look at what we're looking at. The New World Order, the super elite, are going to just shift their money paradigm, their financial power, over to a new army that's a lot cheaper and a lot bigger. That's China and Russia. Your new slaves, your new manufacturers are already China and India, as well as Brazil. And Russia, of course, is going to come out like a fat cat on this, because they've always been an enemy of America. They've always wanted to rule, and they never had a problem with ruling the world with China. Russia and China have always had a great relationship. And I want y'all to pay attention to one thing. China has always pretty much worried about the Chinese. You notice how China don't go around the world trying to dominate the world? So if they just get their manufacturing jobs and they're able to work their slaves for 10 cents an hour, and India is able to work their slaves for 10 cents an hour, Russia's going to make off like a big cat. They will be the next capitalist country. But this is the other thing. They're also changing the lies that we live by. We came up hearing about how bad Russia and China was on their people and how nobody made any money, how they couldn't even have religion, they couldn't talk about politics. Look at America today. It's hard to talk about politics. You can't talk about religion. We're kept down. Our wages have gone. Our jobs are gone. And they're all going to these two countries. So you see the shift in the lie. Now, in saying all this, you're like, Bill, that's a lot of fear. That's a lot of things to think about. What can I do? Here's the thing, y'all. There's still 330 million Americans. And whether you like it or not, the man and the woman and the child standing next to you is your brother. This is your tribe. This is your country. Our leadership failed us. Our government failed us. The police failed us. The health industry failed us. The food industry failed us. They've taken our water. They're poisoning water all around me. You can't do nothing but drink bottled water. And they're not repairing it because they know without food and water, they have you. They know without food and water, they can starve you out. And you think, well, Bill, that's a mighty big story, but, that don't really happen. Look all through history. Look all through history. Before 400 years ago, the big kings and all were in Africa. They were in Mesopotamia. When other kings became powerful, they created armies. They procreated millions of warriors and soldiers for their army, and they went and conquered the world with different weaponry, with different technology. 400 years ago, it was ships that could sail the ocean and take armies to other lands to destroy them. 200 years ago, it was also a naval armada that began with Thomas Jefferson going over to kill Muslim pirates. So we got to look at how a navy can really control the world, and who controls that navy controls that world. Now, in saying this, I want you to look at how China is building up their navy now. Yes, they keep it in their waters. Some of those ships aren't. Some of those carriers aren't even in the water, but they're all ready to go. In 1972, I believe it was, China boasted that they could raise an army of 6 million soldiers within a month. That was 1972. Think about 2018 and what almost 2 billion Chinese could do. And we're not talking about bombing countries. We're not talking about the cowardly way the American government has murdered and slaughtered millions of people across the Middle East, millions of people across the world. No, we're talking about soldiers that can march through and just murder everybody. So it won't be like you think. The other thing is, like I said, the slave lie, to have the perfect slave 200 years ago was the American dream, was the United States Constitution. To make a man think that he was free, to make a man think that he had rights, to make a man think that he owned his land and chose his job. Well, y'all, we did it very well, and we became very wealthy because of it. But the New World Order wants all their money, y'all. And now they found cheaper slaves. They found slaves that are kept down through fascism, through oppression, through governmental control, like China, Russia, and India. So you have to really pay attention to this. Now, you ask, where does South Africa come in this? Well, all that trade goes around the southern part of Africa. Also, if you controlled Africa, the southern part of Africa, and you had your Navy there, Navy base there, you could basically control the world. That's probably one of the top 2 strategic spots in the world to run a Navy war machine from. Also, just so you can pay attention, the super elite, and I mean the multi-billionaires and the people, all the people, the super rich 5,000 most richest people in the world have literally bought up all of Tanzania, Africa, the only place in the world that's not chemtrail. It's a very beautiful place, almost untouched natural beauty. They're digging in bunkers there. And I'm not talking about bunkers like a storage crate. I'm talking about underground cities. They are preparing for the change. Now, you say the change. You think this may be war. You think this may be World War III or whatever, because we never quit World War I, by the way. We've been in a constant state of world war since 1911. But in saying that, and especially since 1913 when the Federal Reserve Bank took control of this country. But in saying that, no, they know that there is natural evolutionary changes happening to this planet, that this planet is going through a major change right now. They know the areas that won't survive this, and they know the areas that will survive this. And to look back at history, look at the area called Mesopotamia, or that part of the Middle East. It all looks like a desert wasteland now, but at one time it was a beautiful, rich, green, lush area, just like America, just like southeastern United States, just like many places you see around the world. But after one of the floods, that landscape changed. We're fixing to go through one of these amazing changes in our planet, y'all. Do not fear the changes coming in our planet. You may lose electricity. You may lose your government. You may lose your sense of security and safety, but it is natural and it's going to happen. It's going to happen no matter what you do. This is why I teach natural medicine. This is why I show you natural foods. This is why I show you different lifestyles, alternative lifestyles to live. Actually, the original lifestyle is what I show you, because you're fixing to have to live it. And I don't want you just thrown out there in the cold and have to get used to it all by yourself. So really think about this. Look at every article that you see about the BRICS nations: Brazil, Russia, India, and China, and South Africa. Look at how Iran has joined in on this, that they're doing the oil, that Syria is involved in this with Russia and China, and now that India, China, and Russia are now making nuclear missile deals and military equipment deals in the hundreds of billions of dollars. They're taking care of each other. They're taking care of each other. So I think we, the people, should be taking care of each other. The solution to this is not going to be easy, but it's the only solution we have. And it's that we, the people, as a united front against fascism around the world, against just keeping our little part of the world and not being involved in the rest of the world anymore, that we, the people, unite under the banner of we, the people. Brothers with a common cause, life. We want to live, and we want to live our way. We have to drop the corporate American nightmare and live the rough, simple American dream, which is live and coexist with your brother. So our very own brotherhood, our very own unity, y'all, will pull us through this. We'll make it. We will make it. But look at the population statistics for 2025. Look at the climate change lies and how they're trying to twist everybody's mind on it. Look at how they're spraying the skies to block back solar energy to keep the grid going as long as they can. Look at how every last drop of oil is going to wind up getting sold to Russia and not the United States. And watch the power structure change as it's happening right before your eyes. It's happening right before your very eyes. Have y'all not noticed since September 11th that China has bought up all the used steel in America, and they redo the steel and sell it to Russia? Have you also noticed that they bought up all the gold? And they don't own any land over here. They lease it because they know this land has no value after they take out the coal and the coal seam gas, especially the coal seam gas, and they make our land toxic to get their fuel source, and we become a wasteland. So you are going to allow your country to become a wasteland? Or you're going to allow your brother to die beside you while you try to save yourself? Because see, every one of us out here that think we can save ourselves, you're sadly disillusioned. We can only save each other, y'all. And you can only do that through loving your brother. So you love your brother like you ain't never loved him before. You go up to people you don't even know and you talk about these issues. You talk about the real things in America. Quit talking about the things the TV wants you to talk about. Quit talking about the things the newspaper lies to you about. You talk to your brother about the things you're concerned about, the things that are happening in your community. We can't change the world, y'all. But we can save our community, and communities can work together to save our region, and our regions can work together to save our nation. And I don't like using the word nation because, see, this is why I never believed in borders. This is why I never believed in governments. This is why I never believed in world order or new world order. It's a lie. It's a scam to keep us divided, to keep us separated. And now they have America way out in left field all by ourselves, y'all. The world hates us, and there you go. So think about this as we go along. Think about it very hard. Research, study, and then when you see the lie, when you see the truth, actually, of what's going on in the world, you'll see the solution is your brother right beside you. Think about that, we the people. I love you, tribe. I come out here to tell you these things because they're very real, and I'm sorry that we're living in this day and age. But then again, as an amateur historian, we're living through some of the most amazing history ever in the history of mankind. So I'm watching it unfold in front of me, and I'm just here to show you the way I see it. So think about that as well. I love you. Peace, and by all means, don't live in fear of this, but live in concern that without our brotherhood and unity, we will fall to the New World Order. They will get what they want. Don't let those bastards get what they want. Don't live in fear. Peace, brothers and sisters.